2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brandon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
I've been manipulated, gaslit, and controlled. How do I turn that into something positive?
Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery. Brandon, what's going on?
Not much. Just doing my thing, you know. What about you?
You said you were going to be doing like yard work all weekend long, as if that was going to be a fun thing for you. I hope you got to do that this weekend.
All weekend long. It's been like all month long. So, and I still got a ton to do. I own a small park.
Yeah, now you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I regret that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I try to get the smallest yard I possibly can, and then I do nothing to take care of it. And you get the biggest yard you can, and you love spending time out there. So
I actually do. Yeah. I love getting in the sun. My kids all day Saturday just complained all day long. Like, it was like I was putting them through torture camp because they had to spread a little bit of mulch, like, here, take a rake and spread the mulch. And it was like they were going to die.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for them.
Yeah, it's good for them. So,
well, good. Well, I'm glad you survived the weekend, man.
Yeah, thanks. Well, should we dive right in?
Yeah, let's get going. We've got Jackie here with us today. Jackie, you've got a great question. We're happy to have you with us. Would you just kind of introduce yourself, share whatever pertinent parts of your story you want, and then we'll get into it with you today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. So a lot has happened in the past month, past year, really. I listened to your podcast on the difference between narcissism and addiction, just someone with an addiction. And I really tried to tell myself for a while, no, my husband just has an addiction. He isn't a narcissist. He cares about other people. He, all of this stuff. But really, I think I'm at a point where I can't deny it anymore. So our story really started last January. We started dating, and he let me know about a month into the relationship about his pornography and sex addiction. So I knew full well going into the relationship that he had that problem, but I didn't know the extreme of it. It was consumed every day, and really I had just gone through the temple, in the LDS temple, and I really wanted someone that could share those spiritual experiences with me. So I really let him know, hey, I want someone that can meet my spiritual needs. And if you can't be this person, I want to know. So we took a little break. He met with his bishop. He got all of his stuff figured out as far as I knew, and we started dating again. I asked him, are you consuming anything inappropriate? Are you masturbating? And it was always no. Why would you think that? Why are you asking me that? So, I just went with it. We got engaged shortly after and got married a couple months after that. So it was really fast. It was Utah style. And I just felt good about it. I really thought that there was a lot of honesty in our relationship. And I was in a vulnerable place where I couldn't ask these questions. Hey, are you consuming anything without him? Why would you ask me that? Why can't you just trust me? So I just trusted as best as I could. And we, our marriage started off, we weren't being very intimate with each other. And I really was so curious about that. He was 30 at the time and I was 22. So I thought, there's a bit of an age gap. He's probably had his fun. He probably, is just tired and old and but I really was like, why aren't we being intimate? We're married. And he would just say, yeah, my sex drive is just low. So we come to, I guess our D-Day was, I think that's what you guys call it, was January 24th of this year, which actually was our 1-year anniversary of dating. Mm-hmm. And I had found just months worth of, hot TikTok girls, underage girls on TikTok, just a lot of stuff that I guess would be considered softcore, since it pleasured him, I guess. But so it was really hard for me, I felt like I was spiraling because I had so much trust for him. I felt like I was crazy when he'd say, why are you asking me this? Why can't you just trust me that I'm being honest? And then to find out he wasn't being honest was really just a hard thing for me. So we really tried for months. I really tried to make it work, but I'd see the stuff he'd look up. He'd tell me, I knew that girl was underage. I still looked her up. And I just thought, I don't know if I like this more than actual hardcore pornography. I was like, I think that might not affect me so bad, knowing that he was consuming actual pornography. But so that was an issue for a while. And I found out that when he was in college, he'd done stuff with underage girls. And it was just this big thing. I just felt so betrayed. And I felt like I was never going to be good enough. And I know people will say you are good enough. It's just his addiction. But things just weren't getting better. And I told him, you can go to rehab, or I don't know if we're going to make this work. And he didn't end up going to rehab. So it was just a lot of back and forth, with me going to my parents' house and trying to stay there for a little bit and then trying to make things work with him. And it wasn't healthy for either one of us. And I really started to see signs of codependency that he had in me. He would say he couldn't live without me. He would say, I just couldn't leave the house for even 30 minutes without him relapsing. And he'd say, it's because you left. I relapsed because you left. And if you wouldn't have left, I wouldn't have relapsed. So it was just a lot of, this is on me. This is my problem because I wasn't there for him. And it was just a lot. And last Monday, I came to him and I was like, this just isn't going to work out. I went into this expecting to have this eternal marriage, my partner forever. And he just wouldn't lean on me in the right ways. It was that codependency, that controlling, that you can't leave the house without me. it was just, he'd follow me around town, just a lot of stuff that wasn't healthy for either one of us. And we came to the conclusion that, yeah, this isn't going to work. And as hard as it is, yeah, I just am dealing with the after effects of that manipulation, that control, the gaslighting, all of that stuff. I'm just really trying to navigate, why did this happen and how can I turn this around and make this a good experience for me? That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It's quite the story, Jackie. Thank you for sharing it. Just for our listeners' sake, before we get into this with you, Jackie, you referenced a podcast episode. It's episode number 217. That's the one that you were referencing about narcissism, just for our listeners, if they want to go listen to that too. But so Jackie, right now, this conversation that you just had, where you kind of have come to the conclusion that it's not going to work out, that you're moving forward with the divorce, that just barely happened a week ago?
Yeah. So it's very, very fresh wound.
Okay. As you're sitting in that space, I just want to just kind of check in with you in terms of how it's feeling being in that space. I imagine there's probably a wide range of emotions right now, probably all the different levels of grief that could be swirling around inside of there. But how does it feel in terms of like your conviction that this is going to move forward this way right now?
I mean, honestly, it's really hard without the control, if that makes sense. Because I wake up in the morning and I would go to work before him and I'd just be so afraid I'm leaving him alone. Oh no, I forgot to grab the TV remote this morning. Just without that policing, it's like, what am I supposed to do with all of my time? I should get a dog or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's really hard for me to get used to. It's hard with all that codependency, you really get attached to that person, and knowing that my future won't have him, that's hard. But then I look at the factors, like if we had kids, I don't know if I'd trust him with our daughters, just stuff like that really keeps me moving forward. As much as I want to crawl back to him and give him another chance, like I've done for a year, there are things that I know would put people in danger, and just that anxiety of having to police everything, just knowing that's gone, that I don't have to worry about that anymore, that in a normal relationship I wouldn't have to worry about that. It gives me hope, I think. But yeah, I'm feeling all kinds of grief, all kinds of feelings.
I'm wondering, Jackie, I want to dive right in, like to the deep end in terms of answering your question of how do I learn, how do I grow, how do I become stronger as a result of this experience that I've been through. And I just really want to check out whether you're ready for that answer, right? Because there's a process of grief that you need to go through, where you feel some pain and you process that pain, and before you really need to get to, okay, what could you have done different, or how did you have a part in creating this in your life, and how can you not repeat those patterns of behavior? You see what I'm saying? Do you see why it's hard to jump in that deep end so fast when you had that conversation last week?
Yeah, for sure.
At the same time, if you're ready to do it, we can do it, right? But it takes some real self-reflection. It takes some, okay, I'm going to look at this and look at, it's hard to tell somebody who's been manipulated and gaslit that you had a piece in this. You see what I'm saying? Because what I don't want you to do is continue to beat yourself up and say, I'm broken, I'm broken, I'm broken. That's not what we want. But what we do want is for you to look at yourself and say, okay, what fears, what shame led me to be in this trap that I'm in today, right? That has nothing to do with him or what he did, but has everything to do with Jackie. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And if you can allow yourself to go there and to look at that, then there's some real hope for shifting so that you don't end up with the same guy, but a different guy in a year or two. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying.
Tyler, any thoughts on that?
No, I just, you're going the same way I was going to go, Brown. And just the idea that there is going to be a natural grieving process that's going to include anger, frustration, sadness, bargaining, like the all woulda, shoulda, couldas, all that stuff. But eventually, and this may take some time, but eventually you do want to get to where your question is being asked, which is, because I've been through this hard experience, and this is actually, your question has part of the answer in it. Because I've been through this miserable place, one of the only things that makes it worth having been through it is that I get to take something from it in terms of life lessons, experience, something that helps me to grow or become a better person. And I think that's at the bottom of what your real question is you're trying to be resilient and say, okay, this has been really, really rough. I am kind of to the spot now where I've been bouncing along kind of the bottom of the river for a while, and it's time for me to come up and get some air. I realize that now. I realize that this is probably wasn't the right thing for me to do, to jump into this relationship so quickly with this guy. But now I'm in a spot where I do want to learn, because I still have a life I want to live. I still want to find a partner. I still want to have a marriage that includes shared spirituality. Like, what do I need to do to learn? And that's a great question to ask. That's actually part of the answer to your question, is learning will help. Looking at this with a set of learning eyes will actually help you in the process of moving on.
So Jackie, I want to ask Tyler some questions, and I want you to hear the answers. Okay. So Tyler, was his lying and manipulation her fault?
Of course not.
Yeah. Was his gaslighting her and trying to both keep his addiction and keep his marriage at the same time, was that her fault?
No, of course not.
Yeah. So no, the hell you've been through in many ways was not your fault, Jackie. Now, here's another question that I have. If Jackie didn't listen to her gut and her intuition when there was red flags and she talked herself out of it, was that something? I hate to use the word fault, but is that something that?
Let's use the word responsibility.
Yeah, was that her responsibility?
Yeah, of course. And that's where maybe I would be going for a second with Jackie, is that this is part of where the learning might come in, is telling the story. Obviously, Jackie, hindsight is 20/20, right? You can look back now and probably see these like glaring things, like when he goes to the bishop and all of a sudden it's all cleared up, and then the very next time you ask him, he's defensive. Like, why would you even ask that kind of a question?
Your gut's going to tell you something.
It's like, oh, that's a red flag right there, because the guy who's in a repentant mode with a repentant heart, who's working on all the things we work on in recovery, transparency, empathy, he's going to meet it with a little bit different energy.
Jackie,
did your gut tell you something in that moment?
It definitely did. I think I just wanted so badly to trust him and trust that he was, I could see he was doing better. It wasn't the hardcore pornography every single day, but I still had that feeling in my gut. But I just guess I was insecure and decided my feelings were invalid.
Jackie, why did you want to so badly trust him?
I love to give the benefit of the doubt. I think I talked to my aunt that also had a husband that struggled with pornography, and she said that she was a fixer. She likes to help people be better. And I think, I have that benefit of the doubt. Okay, yeah, he must be telling the truth, but also I want to help him be better.
Yeah,
that's a big one. So if we dig under this, Tyler, do you want to dig under this a little bit?
Yeah, this is an interesting conversation. I would go a step further with that and say, why are you a fixer? Because being a fixer might be a new name God gives you. That's like, you're a fixer. Or it might be, I'm a fixer because when I fix other people, it makes me good enough. And the reason why I do or don't do the things that I do really does matter for my overall health, right? If I need to fix him in order to be a good person so that God will love me, that's much different than I know God loves me. I am a fixer. God wants me to be engaged in this relationship, but I will suffer less if it's done that way because I'm already operating from a place of fullness and love and confidence instead of trying to get it through those means.
Sure.
Right. And now you're not responsible whether he gets fixed or not. You're responsible to God to follow through on whatever it is between you and God that he's told you you are.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying.
Jackie, think about it. If you feel good and it in some weird way helps your self-worth when you can fix somebody else, then what are you gonna seek out and attract into your life for relationships?
These fixer-uppers.
You're gonna look for the fixer-upper. Yeah. And it might actually help you feel, and this is weird, but feel comfortable and safe to know like, oh, he's the problem, he's the broken one, and I can hide behind his problems and fix his problems. You're smiling as I'm saying this.
I felt it. I've definitely felt like the broken one too, but yeah.
Yeah. And if I were to ask you, as I'm talking through this, what do you really want to attract into your life for a partner?
I want something that I haven't gotten before. And I think it's because of my approach, because I want to help people be better, because I want to leave them better than they were before. I do want to attract somebody that's going to want to lift me up like I want to lift them up, and not necessarily fix me, not necessarily me fix them, just someone that wants to leave someone better than before.
And I would change one word there. Not somebody who wants to lift you up, but somebody who can lift you up.
Yeah.
Somebody who will lift you up. Not somebody that you have to give them legs to stand on to get through this life. Right?
Sure.
In the Anatomy of Peace, the book that is like one of our favorite texts, they talk about a way of being in the world with other people called the I-thou way of being versus what's called the I-it way of being. And what it basically is getting to in a short thing, and you guys go read the book if you want, but it's saying, and this is where Brandon, I think, is going with you, Jackie, is part of the lessons learned here is that in relationships, the I-thou way of being says, I value myself on a thou level at the same level that I value everybody else. And so in essence, my relationships need to consist of other people valuing me at the same level I value them, because we both value equally being human. And you'll either flip and go one way or the other, where you're going to be in the I thing and then be picking up the fixer-uppers, or you're going to be chasing somebody else to fix you. And then you're going to put yourself in the lower position. And either one of those is going to lead to the same kind of an outcome in a certain level. But doing the work to understand your own personal value and then to demand that value is respected in relationships allows you to still offer your strength, to still help, to still be a fixer. But it also puts you in a position where you're operating in a relationship with somebody who values you at the level you're valuing them.
For sure.
Jackie, coming back to what Tyler's saying here, there's something underneath what Tyler just said, how you get in those positions, whether you're, above or below. And I really wonder how many kids are in your family?
We have 7 kids in my family.
Yeah. And what number are you?
I am number 5.
Number 5. Okay. And what role do you play in that large family?
I have 4 older brothers, so I'm the first sister. I was kind of the wild child.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm kind of the mix of my mom and my dad.
But you're the first girl out of, wow. So you're the fifth child in the girl.
Yeah.
That was a crazy house you were born into.
It sure was. And I was a lot more calm back then. I was, I just was pretty chill back then. But as I went on, my younger sister was like an older sister. And so.
Are you tight with your parents?
I am now. I really used to not be, but we're really good now. We're really close.
Interesting. So there was some friction for a while.
Yeah, definitely throughout college. And, a lot of the guys I dated for sure added to that friction between us.
They didn't like them?
I don't know if it was just that I didn't have good taste and they knew what I needed, or I don't know, but yeah, we had a pretty strained relationship for a while.
Yeah. So this marriage, this isn't the first relationship. This is a pattern that's happened again and again.
Unfortunately, yes. It's, I think I have a type.
And the type is that broken bird a little bit, that you're going to mend them. You're going to.
Or that person that's just, you need me. And then I think, oh, maybe I do.
They're telling you that?
Yeah.
You need me.
Mm-hmm. So they can kind of dominate you into that.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for that, honestly.
It's in some ways that kind of version of it is its own sort of like counterfeit of something that a lot of people are attracted to, which is the strength, right? It's like when somebody comes to you and it's like, you need me, it almost feels like they're self-assured enough to be a safe place for you, even though it's being approached from an it kind of a way where you're the object of them trying to get you instead of you're being respected and they're offering their strength to you. Is there another piece to this, Jackie, where maybe it's kind of along this you need me thing, but I'm kind of reading between the lines. You said you were kind of the wild child and that caused a strain between you and your parents. Did you date other guys who were kind of like the rebel themselves, the bad boy, that kind of stuff?
I think I think so to some extent. I think that I've always been told I have a tender heart, I have a big heart, I fall in love fast. Doesn't really matter their background. It's just I love the person that they are. And so I was always the one to fall fast and fall hard. It didn't matter what background they had, really.
Okay.
Jackie, I want to just notice something as Tyler's asking you these questions. As I'm asking you these questions, do you notice that your energy has shifted as we're digging in here?
I can feel it for sure.
Yeah. Well, why has your energy shifted?
I think this is, a lot that I haven't thought about in a while, and I haven't really challenged head on very much.
Yeah. Your question was a great question. In fact, it's the question that Tyler and I always want our clients to ask when they're going through a divorce or something difficult, because that's the question that can actually really be a catalyst to get different outcomes in your life and shift. When you ask the question, what can I actually learn and grow from this experience? But notice where we've gone, right? Now we're digging down deep to who is Jackie and why is she the way that she is? And we're not talking about him and your relationship. And although there's plenty to process there, but we're looking at you to say, okay, like why do you end up in the places that you end up? Why do you create the things that you create? And it seems like there's patterns here. You can see the patterns, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And you know how to get out of a pattern?
How?
It's through discomfort. It's through courage. So if you're used to being the subservient who's going to go please and take care of a person who's telling you that you need them, then that's what you'll jump back into. It will be a little bit uncomfortable for you to jump into a relationship with a person that isn't that way.
For sure.
That is healthy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Could I just, before you move on from this, Brandon, Jackie, I don't know if you can or not, but this energy shift, this feeling you're having, the look on your face, the place we're going with you, can you give it a name or some names as to what you're actually experiencing right now? What are you feeling?
I don't even know. I just felt this. I just feel like.
Let's start with your body. Start with your body from your head down. Just tell me what's going on right now.
My stomach feels so tight, and I just have this feeling. Yep. I think that's something that I've thought about so much in the past, but really, I don't know. I just have wanted my relationships to work so badly, and there's a reason that they haven't, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder that tightness in your stomach, is that tied to any other parts of your body? Is it just in your stomach?
My chest has dropped for sure. My heart dropped.
Yeah.
My head feels like it's spinning a little bit.
Mm-hmm. If we were to give it like a name or a couple of names emotionally, what would you guess would be the closest things to what you're feeling right now?
Well, I would give it the name
okay.
But,
okay.
I don't even know. It's just I feel a little flabbergasted, really.
Yeah, maybe a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Anxious.
Yeah, for sure.
Any shame?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Your body language is speaking those things, at least to me. I don't know, Brandon, if you're seeing something different.
Can I just add here? I'm seeing, it's interesting because I'm sensing what you're feeling, and I'm feeling that with you. And I feel like your body language is trying to mask it a little bit. Because there's smiling, there's laughing, there's and in a way you're fixing it. You're fixing, maybe for us, maybe for yourself, of things are okay and I'm okay, and I'm sensing some deep sadness, and some grief, and maybe a little bit of shame, like Tyler said. That's what I'm feeling from you, Jackie. So, anyways, Tyler, that was kind of my feedback.
That's good, Brandon. Stay with it. Jackie, you just shifted again. Let it go. It's okay. There you go. You don't have to put on that smile. It's all right. Like, was Brandon pretty close with that?
Yeah, and I think I've always been known as smiley girl, happy girl. People don't know what goes through my head, what mental trauma, because I am pretty good at masking to some extent, therapists can tell, but I've been pretty good at masking my feelings for a while now.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay. It's okay to be seen for just a second, Jackie. Your feelings are 100% valid, and I don't think they're all bad, by the way, even though you're in a lot of discomfort right now. What I hear your body saying is that there is some shame, but there's also that overwhelmed, anxious feeling, which is often the catalyst to courage, like Brandon was saying. That pit in your stomach, that overwhelmed feeling, that can be used either to push you deeper into the cave, or it can be used as fuel and motivation to work towards making some of those changes that Brandon was mentioning. And so a starting point for this would be to just acknowledge those feelings and to practice a little bit of awareness and self-compassion first, and then to decide what you want to do with them. And hopefully that decision will then come towards some step towards taking care of who Jackie is. And you identified something else that I think is worth looking at as you kind of move forward in your own kind of journey of healing and treatment is, I just want it to work so bad that in some ways I've been willing to kind of put away all those red flags. Okay, that's a good
colored glasses.
Yeah.
That's my goals. Those colored glasses.
The trick, Jackie, is to hold on to the goodness in you that believes in others and loves others and accepts others just as they are, while also learning to grow into your own confidence enough to have boundaries enough to not have to be in there fixing the other person, but to rather be there supporting the other person and loving them at whatever boundary level is good for you and good for Jackie's heart. Right. That feeling that you had, that little piece of shame, that pit in your stomach, do you get that same kind of feeling? Is that the same kind of energy that comes from you when you get into these relationships with other guys?
I think so. Yeah. I think I just get afraid of, hurting people or hurting myself more in a different relationship, or I definitely just get into this mindset of, I could hurt people. I could turn this into something really bad. I could, a lot could go wrong. So I want the good.
So I want the goodness, but I'm developing most of my relationships from a place of fear.
Yeah, you could say that. Definitely.
Yeah. The energy with which I'm starting these relationships is already attracting the wrong kinds of relationships, and it's already setting me up. You've heard the term self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Once we start putting something into our mind, we actually subconsciously work towards it, even though it's something we may not really want.
And I really think it is just that trauma from past relationships that really didn't end up so well that, I think you're right that I do go into it thinking things could go wrong just right off the bat. Things are going to go wrong, and that really can mess with you it just really messes with you.
Jackie, your protective parts are running the show. And they're so automatic that it almost feels like it's you. So, it's where the rose-colored glasses, the smile on your face, the forgiving things, and just not really looking at the reality of what's actually going on. It feels like that's just who you are. But the truth is there's this real grounded, centered, intuitive, emotional part of you that's definitely there. And a lot of this, Tyler said it, a lot of this has to do with your confidence in yourself and you trusting yourself. So when those alerts go off of those emotions and those spiritual feelings and that intuition, you're talking yourself out of those things before you even have a chance to really even acknowledge them, because the protective parts are like, nope, I'm going to smile, going to forgive, going to get in this relationship.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Even coming on the show a week after finding out and being like, okay, it's time for me to grow and move on from this. And it's like,
right. Stop and grieve.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Stop
okay.
And feel.
Acknowledge your feelings.
Yeah. What's coming up for you, Jackie?
Jeez, I think you pinpointed, how I've been feeling for so long. I've just got to be okay, even if things aren't okay. I know there's that saying, it's okay to not be okay. But I tell myself honest. That all the time. But am I really honest with myself about it? That I'm not okay, that things have to change in myself. And am I really being honest with myself?
Yeah. Yeah. And the protective parts are going to make it really excruciating for you to actually step into those powerful parts. But that's what you need to practice. And as you practice that, what will happen is you'll show up more in your power as a confident, strong woman. And you're going to attract a confident, strong partner into your life when that's who you are. When the weaker you show up, the weaker partner you're going to attract.
The light you give is the light you attract.
Yeah, exactly.
Brandon,
and go ahead, Tyler.
How does she practice what you're telling her to practice? What does the practice look like?
Well, it's comprehensive. So You could start with breath work. You could start with just checking in with yourself every day in your body and being honest with yourself about what you're actually feeling. What's that pain, in your side? And is that emotional? Is it spiritual? Is it physical? What resentments are you holding today? What things do you need to surrender that you're trying to hang on to because you want control? Like, you can start with just simple meditative mindfulness practice every day. And that practice is you getting honest with yourself, right? Does that make sense, Jackie?
Yeah. I really like what you're saying. I think for so long, people tell you, okay, you've got to pinpoint the emotion you're feeling. So I'd say, okay, yeah, I'm feeling anxiety. But rather than moving forward with that, like, why am I feeling anxiety? I think I need to ask those questions better. Mm-hmm. Why am I feeling this emotion?
What is that anxiety telling you? It's communicating to you something about you. So if you can acknowledge that, I have that anxiety feeling. What is this saying about Jackie? And I'm going to trust that it's okay that I have these feelings. And maybe that anxiety is saying you need to confront that person. And you're thinking like, I don't want to confront my mom and dad or my sibling or whoever it is, or my spouse. But the confident part of you, and this is where you really turn the tide, is when you trust it, you feel it, and you act upon it. And you realize, I'm not going to die when I'm honest. I'm okay when I'm honest. And that's where you'll start to trust yourself, Jackie. Right.
So Brandon,
anything to add, Tyler?
Yeah, Brandon, you just kind of started, you said it's comprehensive, and then you started with some of the basics, which was simple awareness, breath work, allowing yourself to practice identifying and allowing yourself to feel certain emotions, letting your body do some of the work that your body's been trying to do for a long time that's being held back on by some of these other parts. That kind of basic stuff paired up with things like really healthy, good self-care dailies. You've heard us talk about those things in the past. Lots of practice of self-compassion. All those tools that you can use by yourself would be great places to be going, because it's every one of those is like a behavioral affirmation that Jackie is worth taking care of, right?
Yes.
And then the comprehensive part would be, and I don't mean to have this be overwhelming because you don't have to do it all at once, but I don't know if you're in treatment, but it's a good therapist who does something like IFS parts work or some like ART or EMDR. We always reference that would be a good thing. Considering, I don't know if you have anyone or you're doing anything, but considering getting yourself involved in a group somewhere where you're allowed to come and process those feelings and not only hold them for others, but practice sharing them yourself to places where people are willing and wanting to help hold and help you process those things could also be really beneficial, and have a good team that will kind of do what Brandon and I just did here and say, hey, Jackie, like, what's behind the smile? Like,
Sure.
And to kind of give you the chance to practice that kind of stuff could be really beneficial as well. Yeah. So I hope that's not overwhelming, but that's part of the comprehensive answer that I think you were meaning, Brandon.
Yeah. And keep the fire hose up to your mouth for just a minute longer here, Jackie, because I just want to reiterate what Tyler said. In the parts work that I think you should go find a therapist who does. It's called internal family systems or parts work. You'll learn how to have some real compassion and appreciation for these protective parts that are kind of overstepping their bounds a bit. And as you learn how to do that, then you can learn how to have them in place when you need them and let them go when you don't want them. And so it's a real mindfulness of your parts and getting to know yourself so that you can show up different in your life and in your relationships. So yes, I would find a therapist, and I can help you find this therapist, Jackie, if you need it. And Tyler can too. A therapist who knows parts work and does ART. And I would focus, even if you did like 6-7 sessions with that therapist, you would come out of that so much more introspective, self-reflective, and understanding of what's going on in your life. And I think for you right now, Jackie, for how young you are and how willing you are to learn and grow, it would change the trajectory of your life just to do some good therapy right now. So, and then what Tyler said, just to reiterate, group work is one of the best things for you to get that reflection back of how am I showing up in my life. So yeah, I highly recommend that. So.
Thank you.
Jackie, how's all of this felt today? How are you feeling about coming on the show today?
I love
stop and be honest.
Yeah, no, I love every way this conversation went. I didn't know where it was going to go, honestly, because I did go into it thinking, okay, I'm feeling all these feels. How can I make this better? But I think there is that. I do need to stop and process this for sure before I can make things better.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is just a really short snippet that is maybe more in line with where most people thought this question was going to go. Some of the things you're currently learning right now, Jackie, and I think you're doing the work already, learning to trust your heart, learning to trust your gut, learning to set healthy boundaries, learning to demand self-respect. Like, all of that stuff is right in front of you, and your husband, soon to be ex, is a perfect learning ground for those things. So as you continue to grow into what this work is that we got you into earlier today, and set those boundaries and follow your gut and practice those things, you are going to emerge as a stronger person.
Yep.
I really do think strongly that this was something that will help me forever to trust in myself, trust in my gut, know that I'm not a crazy person. I am entitled to feel the spirit if we're looking spiritually, or, my gut's got to listen to it.
You want to get yourself to a place where you don't need a man to be okay. You don't. Jackie's strong enough, good enough, beautiful enough, amazing enough without a man to give you all that validation in your life. And as soon as you get to that place of, I don't need you to be okay, then you can get in a relationship where you really love each other, because you're not going to need to consume each other. Sure. If you're Jackie standing on your own 2 feet with your own confidence, knowing how wonderful you are and how good enough you are, and I don't need to fix a man in order to prove that.
I don't have to fix anybody to know that I'm lovable.
Then you've done your work. If you're engaged in a month, Jackie, you can come back on the show and I'll rip you a new one.
I'll give you guys some time before I'm back on
here. Stop and do your work. Right now is a perfect time. It's a perfect time. So
that would be, Brandon, that would be a really interesting episode that maybe a year or two down the road, Jackie comes on with her fiance, not married yet, to run through the red flags.
No, you guys, please. He's a good man or not.
You might regret it. You might not.
Yeah.
So
that would be an interesting episode. Anyway, Jackie, thank you so much for coming and bringing yourself the way that you did today. Hopefully you got something of value. And for those of you listening, there's ways that you can support Jackie anonymously. One way is through leaving a review. Just mention her. We make sure we get it read on the podcast. If this rang a nerve for you, or somebody who would benefit from it, please share it.
Have a wonderful day, guys. We'll see you later.